Hello, my name is Amila Safira Arafani. I am the presenter of the paper entitled The Relationship of Agile Leadership and Agile Organizational Structure Towards the Employee Experience in Peta Sharing Vision Indonesia. This paper is written by myself, Amila Safira Arafani, and the second author, Ahmad Fajar Hendakat, and we are from School of Business and Management, IPB. This presentation will consist of 5 parts, namely the first part is introduction, the second part is the literature review, the third part is methodology, the fourth part is data analysis, and the fifth part the conclusion and recommendations. For the research background, currently we are living in the Industry 4.0 and VUCA era. The era of Industry 4.0 has been characterized by full adoption of new technologies and the quick development of tools and machines. Also, a study showed that a state of swift and chaotic changes, a lack of standards, and the constant need to adapt plans and projects is the characterization of volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous condition, or we can abbreviate as VUCA condition. In the face of the VUCA environment, companies across industry must develop and maintain adaptive performance to survive and compete effectively. And in the VUCA era, it's essential for the employee to have an adaptive mentality, cognitive readiness, and agility to deal with any situation that challenges the status quo. One of which is the enhancing the employee experience that can have an impact on how well they perform in the present circumstance. Improving the employee experience can be done by embracing new strategies and agile ways of working. This is the preference of organizational structure. It's stated by the experts that employees in more hierarchical organizations have higher levels of well-being than those of latter organizations. And most of the respondents say that they disagree with this statement. According to the research, agile firms have a 70% likelihood of falling into the best organizational health quartile. And a study from Agina et al. To 2018 stated that Agile organization structure as a structure that implements transparent, flat structures that reflect and aid in the value creation process of the company by using tribes or lattice, for example. And on the agile leadership, it is also important because the study showed that organizations' leaders' consistent behavior aligned with organizational culture will foster agile mindset within the employees. And although each company has its own characteristics, leader will still adhere the similar principles in which empowering and providing better employee experience is the key for successful agile leadership implementation. As the main object of this study, Beta Sharing Vision Indonesia is a research and consultancy firm that specializes in information and communication technology and has worked with several top businesses to develop their knowledge management strategies. And here you can see the surface provided by Sharing Vision, which is shown by the portfolio matrix, and also the organizational structure. Meta Sharing Fish Indonesia has begun constructing functional organizational structure using agile organizational structure in the form of tribes model. Along with structure changes, the company also began designing the strategies of agile leadership practices to bring better employee experience. So the problem statement for this research is that rapidly changing digital industry leads to client demanding faster and higher quality of works from Beta Sharing Fish in Indonesia, and previous leadership practices and structures has some problems. To adapt to these changes, the company began constructing strategies for agile practices in the form of structure and leadership. The company acknowledged implementing agile practice does not guarantee immediate positive outcome for employees in many considerations such as cost and time. The company feels it is essential that the new practices not only positively impact product outcomes, but also on human capital. From that background and the problem statement, we come up with the research questions. The first one is there any relationship between the agile organizational structure and the employee experience in Beta Sharing Fish in Indonesia? Is there any relationship between agile leadership and the employee experience in Beta Sharing Fish in Indonesia? And does the regression model, which explores the relationship between the two variables, demonstrate robustness when considering the impact of control variables and the research objective is complementary? The scope and limitations of this study is the time limitation, which is this study conducted from April to July 2023. The company's Also, we are only focused on beta sharing fish in Indonesia, and the industry that we focused on is specifically in digital industry. Next, we moved on for the second part, which is the literature review. Employee experience is an understanding of a company regarding the employee reality should be like or develop for employee. So positive employee experience is the leading factor of higher performance. Beckman and Oldham identify skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback as measurement for employee or work experience. The next variable, which is the independent variable, is the agile organizational structure. According to study, there are two types of organizational structure. The first one, a hierarchical management structure, and a flatter and more open humanistic management structure. A study conducted by Agina et al. Defined agile organizational structure as a cross-functional, clear, flat structure that can be clustered into a tribe with a shared goal. Therefore, agile organizational structure can be categorized as modern structure. Agile leadership is a term for leaders with the ability to adapt to changes in their environment swiftly. There's positive and significant relationship between agile leadership and employee experience from Adiraksa et al. Study. It is because agile leadership emphasizes a more egalitarian relationships with subordinates, which fosters mutually beneficial relationships. There are two hypotheses in this study, which are agile organizational structure has a positive relationship with the employee experience in beta sharing vision in Indonesia. Agile leadership has positive relationship with the employee experience in beta sharing vision in Indonesia, and it can be illustrated by the conceptual framework stated in the slide. The methodology of this study, the research type and design is quantitative and correlational. The research participants are employees in beta sharing vision in Indonesia with 169 respondents data collected. The analysis technique using the multiple linear regression with classical assumption test. The research instrument for each variable is the first one, the employee experience. We use the Hackman and O'Holm theory of job design, the Parker et al. Agile leadership characteristics, and agile organizational structure from Agina et al. We move on to the data analysis section. Based on the descriptive statistic, the respondents profile shown in the left side. The male is consists of 78.1%, which are 132 respondents. The female consists of 21.9%, which is 337 respondents. The length of working time from 1 month to 240 months. Working positions varied, including C-level positions to IT consultants with the highest proportion among other positions. The validity and reliability is also tested, and for each variable, the questionnaire instrument yielded values higher than the critical R-table value, which is shown by the validity result, indicating that all variables are valid. Similarly, the reliability test showed results higher than 0.9, indicating that the questionnaire instrument are reliable. We also conducted a classical assumption test, which is the normally distributed data, also shown by the one-sample Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. The multicolor reality evaluation does not also exist, and the heteroscedasticity evaluation does not exist, shown by the value. And also, we come up with a regression model. The first regression model is only use the core variable. It shows a significant relationship, which the equation stated. The second regression model, we add up the control variable, which is also shown stable model of regression, shown by the equation. And based on all the procedure that we conduct for the hypothesis testing, we can conclude that all hypotheses are accepted. It is also shown by the t-value and the f-test. So the conclusion is there is a positive and significant relationship between the agile organizational structure and employee experience in beta sharing vision in Indonesia. There's also a positive and significant relationship between the agile leadership and employee experience in practitioning fish in Indonesia. Also, the third one is the regression analysis model exhibits robustness, indicating that even with the inclusion of control variables, the significant correlation between the variables remains evident. This confirms the reliability and validity of the relationship explored in the research. We come up with the recommendation for the company. For the first variable regarding the agile organizational structure, is the company to increase the maturity level of agile organizational structure. This also can be achieved by implementing relevant strategies such as setting goals and construct blueprint and implementation of agile organizational structure principles. To promote a better understanding of the agile culture, especially the organizational structure, the company is advised to conduct training programs and sharing sessions. And the second one is for the agile leadership. The company is to provide clear yet flexible guidance and understanding to its leaders. And the company should also provide leaders with the flexibility to adapt agile practices to suit the unique needs and challenges of their respective teams and projects. We also come for the last part, which is the recommendation for future research. The first one to expand the variable analysis, including strategy, people, process, and technology variables to provide a more comprehensive analysis of agile organizations. The second was to enhance employee experience framework, develop or adopt a robust framework for measuring employee experience to gain deeper insights into its dimensions and impact on organizational outcomes. And the third one is to cross-industry exploration, extend research beyond the digital industry to examine agility's effects on different sectors, enhancing adaptability and innovation across a broader range of organizations. And that is all for the presentation. Thank you very much.